For the umpteenth time, I'm trying this again. If it doesn't work this time, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not. This is too crazy. Okay, so you hear the munchkin over here. She's in my background. She's gonna be making noise. Okay, so you're gonna have to deal with it. All right. So hopefully it's not gonna be too distracting. And then the other thing is, yes, I did change my hair. My hair is red now, and I wanted to change it red, so I changed it red. Okay, so. If anyone notices it, fine. I don't know if the guys would notice it. I don't know if you could tell. I think the girls might notice it. Whatever. Yes. Okay. Two incidences that happened, I want to say around a month or so ago. I think one of the incidences, maybe a little less than a month ago, happened. One incident was with an elote lady on the West Coast who was robbed by two Black American kids while two Black American females were in the car recording the incident. Then the other incident was a Mexican man selling masks, and two Black American kids ran up on him and threw eggs on him. Okay, so I was asked to speak about the elote lady, right? And I did see the video at the time. I did get upset when I saw it. I'm not gonna lie. I did feel a certain way. And then so I was like, okay, since I feel a certain way, I don't know if I should talk about this. And then because I've never spoken about Mexicans, Mexican Americans, or anything on my channel, even though I'm part Mexican, I was like, why am I gonna speak about this now? So I'm kind of tying in a couple of things into this video. I'm also gonna kind of get into a little bit as to why I don't speak on Mexicans or Mexican American, issues and stuff like that. So basically, I didn't know too much about the incidences other than the clips that I saw. So what I decided to do was I did my own research on the topics. So I watched different YouTubers talk about the incidences, and I got kind of a clearer, you're welcome, I got a clearer perspective from them as to like why they felt a certain way about how like the incidents that occurred. The main thing that a lot of them seemed to all stress was that they knew that the actions of these kids didn't speak for the actions of all Black American people, Black American kids, and they, and that was something that a lot of them wanted to stress. And there were also Black Americans who were speaking out against it, saying that this doesn't represent their group, and they were, basically reprimanding the kids who caused these crimes. Okay, and then the Mexican Americans also, in the videos that I saw, spoke about, touched on things that people from their group did to Black Americans in the past. They touched on the history, like the extended history from like the 80s and 90s and whatnot, the gang fighting and just the excessive fights that both of those groups had over there, and that they didn't want these incidences to basically reignite those issues from back in the day. Okay, then I saw commentary basically saying that there were people that were out there looking for the kids who did cause these crimes, and that they were gonna, there was people wanting to basically cause harm to the kids after doing that. And I see, like, I understand all sides of the situation, but the main thing that I got that I appreciated from the content creators that I've seen on here was that both sides wanted to squash the beef and they didn't want these things to escalate. Okay, so that's the one common thing. Now, the main reason why I didn't talk about this, like these topics, and also why I never really touch on the topic of Mexicans and Mexican Americans, is because for me, I've always perceived the Mexican American lifestyle to people who are like truly Mexican American to the Mexicans on the West Coast, because it seems like those are the ones that have been here the longest, from the ones that I've met, as far as the ones that I've met of concerns. Okay, whereas the Mexican Americans that I've met here on the East Coast were the most probably recent migrants, apart from my family. Okay, Yes, I have met some who have also been here a long time too, but for the most part, the Mexicans that I've had interactions with outside of my family were all recent migrants, 80s, 90s. For the most part, that's when they migrated here. Okay, so our experiences weren't the same, and I feel like I had a harder time connected. Not that they were bad, not that I wasn't cool with them or anything, but I didn't feel like I was connected to them like that. I hope that makes sense. Obviously, I feel like I'm more connected to the ones on the West Coast, like the commentators and stuff that I've seen from the West Coast, and I hear their experiences and their life stories, and I'm like, oh man, especially like the living around, a lot of criminality and stuff like that, and it's like that kind of street life or whatever. I feel like I was able to resonate more with them than with a lot of the Caribbean Latinos I've met here on the East Coast. Okay, so I hope that me making that correlation makes sense, and I hope that kind of clarifies why I really don't talk about Mexican Americans like that, because I feel like I'm very removed. I feel like I'm already removed from Puerto Rican culture. I am technically, I do consider myself New Rican. I embrace the insult, if that makes any sense. I embrace what it is, to be a New Rican, right? I embrace the bad and I embrace the good. So I always just kind of hold my own with that aspect, okay? And then when it comes down to like the Mexican part of me, it's strange because it's like that one grandparent that I had that I was the closest to was my Mexican grandfather, because he was alive the longest, so I have more experiences with him. My grandmother's died when I was very young. My paternal grandfather died before I was born, so I never even met him. So I did have a connection, but it was like even my Mexican grandfather was very connected to Mexico. He wasn't Mexican American. My grandfather was born and raised in Mexico. So even the way he carried himself wasn't in any way near even the recent Mexicans that migrated here, nor was he anything like the Mexican Americans on the West Coast, of course, right? So I feel like a combination of me being removed, and then just having like that one person that was, Mexican from Mexico, that was my grandfather. Having, I had the most experiences with him, but still I was removed, if that makes sense, right? So that's why I never did. It has nothing to do with me being like against anything or them or anything, nothing like that. Just because it's like, how do I speak on something that I feel like I don't have that much, I didn't have that much exposure to, The only exposure was really from that one person, and my grandfather did marry someone prior to my grandmother, and and it was a Mexican woman, and I do have an aunt and uncle, half aunt, half uncle from that marriage, and both of them were full Mexican. Okay, so the aunt is still alive. That uncle passed away before I was born, so I do have experience with that aunt, right? Who was full Mexican. Okay, but again, I still feel like because she lived here for so long, she was very Americanized. So, and she kind of like grew up around Puerto Ricans, and then all of her half siblings were half Puerto Rican. She had a lot of the Puerto Rican influence with her. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that the noise in the background also wasn't too distracting in this video, but it is what it is. And my God, the mess that this little girl has made that I gotta deal with now after this. All right. I'm gonna go for now. I hope that clarified something. So yeah, hopefully that clarified some things. And again, it's not, you know, I don't have any like issues with them, even though I have had some of them be pretty mean to me before. In general, I don't have issues with Mexican people, Mexican American people. But again, I feel like I can relate way more to the ones on the West Coast than the ones that I've met here on the East Coast. So I'm gonna go for now. I'll see you guys in my next video, and I hope that you all are safe, and bye for now.